I'll never forget the morning they arrested Patricia Harrington. It was 6:47 a.m., and the SWAT team rolled into Cypress Gardens, our pristine Florida gated community. Like something out of a bad action flick, their heavy boots tore across the HOA's perfectly manicured clubhouse lawn, trampling the grass Patricia had probably inspected with a magnifying glass. By the time they burst in, 3 neighbors were already live streaming from behind their hedges, phones up like they were auditioning for a breaking news segment. Inside, Patricia, our HOA president and self-anointed wellness queen, was mid-Zumba class, her neon pink workout gear glowing under the fluorescent lights. They cuffed her right by the smoothie bar. She screamed. It was a vape as they dragged her out, her defense for tampering with my son Jaime's insulin. Yeah, insulin. My 14-year-old's life-saving medication. 2 months earlier, Jaime and I had moved to Cypress Gardens, chasing a fresh start after losing my wife to cancer. I'm Richard Lawson, a software engineer who works from home, just a mild-mannered guy trying to keep things together for my kid. Jaime's a type 1 diabetic who spends his free time building robots for competition's smart kid. Good heart. I thought this place, with its vibrant bougainvillea and obsessive mailbox uniformity, would be a safe, quiet spot for us to heal. Instead, we got Patricia, a woman who treated HOA rules like the 10 Commandments and wielded her clipboard like a scepter. From day one, Patricia had it out for us. I'm still not sure why. Maybe because I skipped her mandatory welcome wine mixer. Sorry, I was unpacking and grieving. Or maybe it was Jaime's skateboard leaving faint scuff marks on our own driveway. Whatever it was, she started small but relentless. First, it was the trash bins. The city gives you 72 hours to bring them in after pickup, but Patricia demanded same-day removal by 6 p.m. sharp. Then she went after Jaime's chalk art acute cat and sunglasses he drew for his cousin's visit. She called it unsanctioned artwork and emailed me a citation with the subject line, friendly reminder number 13. By the time we hit urgent community standards violation number 27, I stopped opening her emails. I tried to keep the peace, but Patricia was a one-woman crusade. She declared my hibiscus bushes 4 inches tall, planted 15 years ago by the previous owner, a sightline nuisance, and demanded I trim them to 3 inches or face fines. She even showed up with a ruler, shaking her head for my security camera like she was starring in her own HOA reality show. Then came the Ring doorbell she mounted on a tree, facing our house, not her property, claiming it was for community safety. When I called her out on the obvious privacy violation, she clutched her pearls and accused me of aggressive body language. She filed a complaint with the HOA board, which she ran like her personal fiefdom, saying I made her feel unsafe. Things went from annoying to dangerous during a summer power outage. It was the hottest day of the year, and the electricity died at 2 p.m. Jaime's insulin needs constant refrigeration, or it's useless, potentially deadly. I was prepared for this. I had a medical-grade cooler that could keep it cold for 48 hours. I set it on our shaded front porch, covered in bright labels screaming medical supplies. Do not touch. The HOA had banned portable generators. Patricia called them intolerable noise pollution, despite us living in hurricane country. So, while we were all sweating through the blackout, Patricia was cruising the neighborhood in her golf cart, decked out with HOA president magnets and fake police lights like she was the sheriff of suburbia. That's when she spotted our cooler. My security footage installed after her tree camera stunt caught everything. Patricia marched up, read the medical labels, sneered, and opened the cooler. She pulled out Jaime's insulin vials, shook her head like they personally offended her, and drove to the storm drain at the end of our street. One by one, she tossed them in, muttering something that looked like "not in my neighborhood." It was like watching someone pour out expired milk, except this was my son's lifeline. I found the empty cooler at 4 p.m. when I went to check Jaime's insulin. My stomach dropped. The lid was open, the vials gone. I pulled up the footage and felt my blood boil. I called 911, reporting that someone had stolen and destroyed my son's medication. Then I called Jaime's endocrinologist, scrambling to get emergency prescriptions. We borrowed insulin from a neighbor, But by 8 p.m., Jaime's blood sugar was dangerously high. We ended up in the ER, where he spent the night hooked to IVs while doctors fought to stabilize him. Watching my kid suffer because of Patricia's power trip was worse than anything since losing my wife. The hospital staff were horrified when I showed them the footage. The ER doctor called the police herself, and Detective Morrison, who took our case, watched the video 3 times before saying, "In 20 years, I've never seen someone endanger a kid's life over HOA nonsense. We don't usually charge attempted murder in subdivisions, but here we are." When the police questioned Patricia the next morning, she tried to spin it. She claimed the cooler was improperly labeled and that I was storing unauthorized items on my porch. When they told her it was insulin for a diabetic child, she had the audacity to suggest Jaime was faking his symptoms and that I'd coached him. She didn't know the county prosecutor, Jennifer Walsh, was a former diabetic camp counselor who'd lost a camper to insulin mismanagement. Jennifer took this personally. The security footage was damning. It showed Patricia reading the medical labels before tossing the vials. Tests on the storm drain confirmed traces of insulin, and Jaime's hospital records proved how close we came to losing him. Jennifer charged Patricia with reckless endangerment of a child, tampering with medical supplies, destruction of property, and making local headlines attempted second-degree murder. At her arraignment, Patricia showed up in a conservative suit, trying to play the part of a respectable community leader. Her lawyer called it a misunderstanding about an unauthorized cooler. But when Jennifer played the footage in court, showing Patricia methodically destroying the insulin, the room gasped. One juror broke down and had to be excused. The judge, who had a diabetic grandchild, wasn't having it. She set bail at $500,000, ordered Patricia to stay 500 feet from medical supplies, and mandated a psych evaluation for boundary issues and power dynamics. Patricia's world collapsed. The HOA held an emergency meeting, and over 100 residents showed up, sharing their own stories of her harassment. She was unanimously ousted as president, and several board members apologized to me for enabling her. Her real estate license was suspended when it came out she'd used her HOA power to pressure people into selling homes through her agency. Her husband filed for divorce, saying he was shocked by her actions. I filed a civil lawsuit for Jaime's medical bills, pain and suffering, and punitive damages. The criminal trial was quick. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before finding Patricia guilty on all charges. She stood there, frozen, as the judge read the verdicts: 15 years for attempted second-degree murder, with parole possible after 10, 5 years for reckless endangerment, 2 years each for tampering and destruction of property, all concurrent. She was ordered to pay $250,000 in restitution. As the bailiff cuffed her, Patricia sobbed, insisting she was just keeping the neighborhood nice and that everyone was overreacting. Her final whimper was about how this would ruin her Bahamas cruise. The courtroom was silent as they led her away. Jaime's doing better now. Back to building his robots. We're still in Cypress Gardens, but the HOA's under new management, and the vibe's different, less like a dictatorship, more like a neighborhood. I check my security cameras less often, but I'll never forget what happened. Patricia thought she was untouchable, but she learned the hard way: you don't mess with a kid's life over a power trip.